minutes. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 5 of Wire to Wire, our fantastic coverage of the $1 base, no CAW, retail only, coast to coast, pick 5 at 2 fantastic tracks. And we are sponsored, of course, by our good friends at Santa Anita, as this weekend, this Saturday, the coast to coast is going to cover 2 races at Gulfstream Park and 3 at Santa Anita. And we have some very special guests on tonight, one of whom who's been on our airways before, another who is not, but I've been on with him several times on other shows. I'm happy to introduce them here in just a moment. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. And of course, we have a great tip sheet. Below the video player is our Power Picks tip sheet. It's been on fire. The best bet spot plays so far in January, over $4 ROI. What? That's right, over $4 ROI on our best bet spot plays, including some at Santa Anita. Maybe we'll have a nice play for you as I'm sporting my brand new Santa Anita hat. Thank you, the marking department at Santa Anita, Andrew Arthur, taking care of me. Of course, I'm very excited to talk about this pick 5 coast to coast. And I'll tell you what, this bet has been tremendous, and I'm sure our guests are going to have a lot to say about it. There's been big carryovers almost every weekend. This particular coast to coast, ladies and gentlemen, bet this Saturday, I thought is a doozy. Not only the race is good, but they are tough. So thank goodness I've got 2 fantastic people to help me through this. So first, let's bring on from the DRF and from the left coast, Mr. Gina Piccola. And first time on our show, this is a great gentleman. I met him in person for the first time a few weeks back. I've been on with him with Jeff Chapman. He does a great job out at Santa Anita. Please welcome for the first time on the HHH Racing Podcast, Mr. Skip Paring. Gentlemen, welcome. How you doing tonight?
Good. Glad to be here, Howard. Thanks so much. And I know Skippy, so good to see you, Skippy.
Yeah, Gino, good to see you. And Howard, thanks for having us on. I'm looking forward to this, and it looks like a great coast to coast tomorrow. I can't wait to, or Saturday. I can't wait to put this ticket together.
Well, I hope your picks are hot because, as you guys know, it is cold throughout the entire damn country, except for where you guys are, like Arizona and Florida. And even in Florida, I heard, guys, I don't know if you heard this, Tampa, Saturday night and the sunny morning, small chance of flurries. Wow. In Tampa Bay. What in the world? Skip, why don't you introduce yourself to our wonderful viewers and listeners? We have thousands that watch these shows. We already have more than 100 watching right now. And by the way, guys, we are live on the Santa Anita YouTube channel right now, the Santa Anita X handle, and the Gulfstream YouTube channel as well, of course, as we cover everything with First Racing. But Skip, I've been on with you before. I've met you. Fantastic guy. Just give us a quick 30-second overview of what you do with Santa Anita, how you got involved with horse racing.
You know, I've been involved with horse racing my whole life. My mom worked at Santa Anita for 30 years. And so I was out there doing some really good times, the old days, and saw some great horses. So I've been born around the track. My dad used to take me. My mom used to take me all the time. So I love the track. And now I do a radio show with Jeff Chapman, the Morning Line Sports Show on AM 830 out here in the Pacific from 8 to 9. We talk horses and we talk sports, but mainly horses. And we have a great time doing it.
Yeah, you do a great job. I love the radio show. I got to talk to Jeff. I got to get on that show at some point. He has invited me for the record. So some way we'll find my way to get myself on the radio show that you guys do. Now, if you're out at Santa Anita, you can find these guys all over the place. You might have to go to a fancy suite to find Skipper there with GM Nate Newby and some other great guys that I met. I'm sure Gino, I'm sorry I missed you, man. I was out there, of course, a few weeks ago. I heard you weren't there that day. So Sorry I didn't see you, my friend, but
I am usually, though, with the plebeians down with the normal folk, and I'm usually taking pictures by the paddock and over by the winner's circle. So I actually had a chance to get out of my normal Southern California, and was at where I call Stream Park last week for the awesome events for the Pegasus.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun. Was doing some work for First Racing, helping them as a wagering ambassador, and then also doing some work for Daily Racing for them. So I'm glad that I went last week when it wasn't going to be as cold. So that was great. It worked out for me nicely. Now I get to pop back home to my normal warm weather.
Yeah, it's me actually cold in Miami too this weekend. Speaking of DRF, by the way, you can get PPs and clock reports for Gulfstream and Santa Anita every race day. Go to drf.com for more info. We appreciate all the help and support, Gino, from DRF. You guys know that we're big supporters, and of course, we're going to use the time form and formulator, etc., here on our show, as we always do. All right, guys, we've seen some big carryovers, and Skip, it's not easy to hit pick fives, and when it's a dollar base, it makes it even more difficult. And we talk a lot about ticket construction on this show. In general, I know this is not an easy question, Skip, because I know you're going to say it depends on the card, etc. But in general, how do you feel about finding a single or two in a dollar pick five bet like the Coast to Coast? Is it something like you almost like say to yourself, okay, I've got to find a single, or is it completely situational?
No, it is situational, but more times than not, you got to find a single with that dollar bet. You just can't get a lot of coverage with that dollar bet. So I usually try to find a single and build around that single. And I do. I think I got one on Saturday. I really like a horse in the last race. So nice. I will be building my ticket around that horse.
All right, terrific. Well, let's get into it, guys. And I have their picks on the screen. Gino, as you're sort of new to our show, you're going to see comments on the bottom of the screen as well. In fact, let me get some comments up right now from Jim Pillar's, fantastic viewer and listeners from Buffalo, guys. Talk about cold. Show is a must-watch. No CAWs, low takeout. I know the tracks will run this weekend. That is a bonus, Gino. Unfortunately, we can't control the weather. We got John Kinzerski here. He's from Florida, guys. Back again, Howard. Yep, I keep going. I don't know if you guys are hearing my voice. The weather's, I've had a rough week. I'm fighting through, though. I've not missed one day of work, by the way. So the kids need me, guys. So
absolutely.
I don't know if I need them, but they need me. So that's the way that goes. You got to do what you got to do.
And this is, Howard, you mentioned it a few times, and I know Skip and we used to play this thing years back before it was like a permanent wager, and they would only bring it in for certain big days here and there, and we always made it a point to put a bunch of our bankroll towards this wager because it's so good. It gives us the things that we want as horse players. Low takeout, the higher minimum makes it more difficult, and the no CAW wagering where it's just the retail players only. You just feel like you have a better chance if you're someone who plays in the $100 to $200 range for your tickets, right? If you're not playing $1,000 tickets, you got a shot at a wager like this to have a really nice score.
Yeah, pooling your money together in these bigger bets, I highly, highly recommend. I've said it 1,000 times, guys, over the we're on our 6th year of this podcast. I can't believe it's, having 100% of zero is not nearly as good as having, 10% of 2,000 or whatever. So, definitely you want to try to pair your money together if possible. All right, guys, let's get to it. The first leg of the Coast to Coast Pick 5 this Saturday, 2 at Gulfstream, 3 at Santa Anita, is race 9 at Gulfstream. It's a mile on the turf. The rails are at 24 feet. It's a field of 11. The morning line favorite is the number 5 Multiverse, guys, for Riley Mott and Junior Alvarado. I'm sure you guys pay attention. Obviously, you were there, Gino. But Skip, I'm sure you've bet Gulfstream many, many decades, and you follow Gulfstream as well, like most horse players do, and you guys have strong opinions. Junior's having a great year. Obviously, he had a fantastic 2025. He won, I think, 4 on Pegasus Day last Saturday. Multiverse, the number 5, is very interesting. He's never been on turf, and Riley Mott decides to go to turf. Let's see what we think here, guys, in the first leg of the Coast to Coast Pick 5. I'm going 4-11-8. Look at my friend Gino. He's also going with the 4. He's going 4-3-7. Skipper is going to a very interesting Brian Lynch horse. Skip's going 2-7-5. Let's go to you first, Skip. This is number 2 is Tal Bingo, 5-1 Lynch and Saez with some very good synthetic form. Can he transfer that to turf? He's got some talent.
Yeah, I really like the work on January 9th. Really like the way this horse came home. Has that turfy stride, high action, big stride. I think this horse will like the turf. Usually when they like the synthetic or the Tapeta, that usually transferred to turf form. But I think that this horse, I know they didn't think much of it first out. They ran it for maiden 25. It won easily there. They stepped it up, won nicely again, got beat by a horse that came back and win, King Dioro. And that horse actually just ran over the weekend. And then it came back and it beat Wally World, who came back and won. So
Yeah.
Last time out on the dirt, sprinting at Churchill Downs, didn't run bad, gave it a little break. I like the work pattern coming back. And the work on the 9th really kind of tipped my hat, and I think this horse is ready to go. Brian Lynch owns and trains it. Louis Saez jumps aboard, and I like what I see in the mornings, and I think it will run very well on the turf. I'm taking a shot here. I like it at 5-1.
I like it. He's going to be tactical. I actually didn't notice they own the horse, to be very honest. Here's the, we talked how great DRF is. Here's the pace projector from Formulator. Skip, do you agree that the two will be about where you see on the screen? I'm assuming if you agree, that'd be a great spot sitting in the pocket just off.
Yeah, I do. With this tactical speed, I think this horse is going to get a great trip from the inside. And Louis Saez is riding real good. And hopefully I'm right. And this horse runs like I think he's going to run.
Yeah, look, I like the pick. I don't have him in the top 3, Gino, but I'm definitely going to be using him because I think this is a spread race. Gino, you and I are both going to go with the 4, Mary's Lad, 4-1 Moyne line. We were just talking about on our show earlier, Gino. Who do you think will be favored in this race?
She will. I think she'll be favored over the 5. I wouldn't be shocked if they flip-flop, because what makes this race a little difficult is you have some really talented horses, but a lot of them are not in current form going long on the turf at this level. And that's what Mary's Lad has. She has that good racing form right now with a good effort last time out at this level. And you look around, Talbingo, we're very talented, but we have some question marks. Can this horse go long? On the grass, you look at the 5. Is this horse going to be able to get on the grass for the first time? The 7 lasts a bit longer, hasn't raced since August. So some of the major players in here have real question marks about their ability right now to go long on the turf. And that's not the case with Mary's Lad. That's why I thought he was a must use in this spot, just because he fits so well under these conditions and a lot of the others really don't. So he's in the mix for me, Howard. And the horse right to his inside, I thought was a kind of fun price horse to include. He's the old veteran. He's a 9-year-old now. And this is a horse who's recently been running in some softer spots on the synthetic up at Woodbine, but I'm not really concerned with those races quite as much. You don't have to go all that far back. You're looking in like June, where this horse is beating optional 32 first level allowance company, going 7.5 on the turf at Woodbine. That race would be really competitive against these. And this is a horse who has just a lot of experience going long on the turf, whereas a lot of the rest of this field doesn't. And so I wouldn't always use a horse like this, Ever Dangerous, in a spot like this one, a first level allowance, where I'm kind of looking for more lightly raced horses. But I think 3, 4, and then I got into the 7 a little bit. And I probably would use those 3, just trying to get out of this leg of the pick 5.
Marty Drexler, very sharp guy. I would poo-poo your pick with the Ever Dangerous because he's 9. But then again, Gino and Skip, we just saw a dirt grade 1 in the United States where the first 3 finishers were all 7-year-olds. So who am I to doubt the older guys? Although we could talk about the Pegasus forever. I think that was an anomaly and will probably never happen again. That being said, those older guys like the heat down there, right, Gino, in Florida?
Oh yeah, that's what we do. We go down there to warm up. And I think what's nice about him too is it's a weird race where a lot of different things can happen. We don't trust a lot of horses in here. He's just kind of solid. He's honest. He's kind of versatile. He's got a little positional speed. He can sit back. He can pass horses. He's like, been there, done that. I'm a 9-year-old. I've seen basically everything you have to throw at me. Whereas a lot of these other horses, they haven't seen this quite yet. So I think he's a fun horse to use. I would not be shocked if the 4 takes a decent amount of money, just because the more you look at this race, you come back to the 4 thinking, wow, this is the one horse here that looks really solid. The others we have to ask a lot of questions about.
I think the main question, Skip, and we'll go on to the next race, is what do you do with Multiverse? Now, we talked about this horse on our show earlier tonight on Picks and Ponies. There's not a lot of turf breeding in here. I mean, Candy Rides can, of course, and Into Mischiefs, the second families, I mean, those horses can run on turf, but this particular horse doesn't really have a lot of turf breeding at all. It feels to me, I don't know if you agree with this, Skip, that Riley Mott is just trying something because this horse just keeps getting second and they're getting frustrated. It feels more like a desperation move and an experiment than something they saw in the morning and they're like, oh yeah, this horse is turf meant. Does it feel that way to you?
Yeah, it does. And, I think if they thought that this horse had turf in its career, they wouldn't have waited till the 10th start to put it on the grass.
I agree.
I'm not a big fan of practical jokes on the grass either. I thought this was a great favorite to try to beat here. It probably won't go off as a favorite, but 3-1 morning line. I thought this horse, I wasn't going to use it at all. I'm going to try to beat it.
The practical jokes, just for everyone, just for fairness and disclosure, 9%, Gino, the sires on the win end. So normal, and this horse is 11%, or sorry, the average is 11%. So below normal anyway for a horse that's never been on turf. So it is Junior though, guys. I do not doubt Junior at all.
So a question for you, Howard, and especially because this is the first leg of the sequence. Is there a point where multiverse floats up where you think the horse becomes usable? Do you think about things that way, or do you play based on price that way? Because for me, I wouldn't throw that horse in at 3-1. But when you look like on dirt, the form is very good, has been facing some tougher horses. If you're talking about a horse that was like 6 or 8-1, now all of a sudden I'm a lot more intrigued. Like if this horse floated up and was a much different price, I'm looking at it like that. I would not use multiverse with the question marks at a short price if this horse was like the first or second choice.
It's an excellent point. I don't want to speak for Skip, but if he does float, that just tells me he's definitely not turf meant. And I would almost be convinced not to use him even more if he's a higher price. Now, I don't usually think that way, but in this scenario, I would.
Sure.
Skip, do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree with that. 100%.
Like, let's say he's 6-1. If he's 6-1, I want no piece of him. Not
right. It's funny because now we're thinking because of the morning line, right? You're absolutely right. But I think if this horse showed up normally at 6 or 8-1, we might look at him and say, yeah, maybe, I wouldn't be shocked at it. But that's a very interesting way to to talk it out, because to me, he was just too short of a price to use in a race like this where we had questions.
And I think Skip, he's low price because his buyers, he's faced monster. I mean,
oh yeah,
but this is
all
not on
five
dirt.
of his races since breaking his maiden are good. Like, he's faced some nice horses, but you get the feeling that exactly how you laid it out, Howard, they're trying something because his form on dirt may be good enough to really contend here if he doesn't improve. So they're just hoping it can maybe transfer over.
I agree. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of money he takes. Let's go on to the next race, guys. The next race is actually at Santa Anita. So it's race 3 at Santa Anita. It is a claiming 25. This is the smallest field in this coast-to-coast pick 5. It's only 6 horses. It's a mile on turf. Fillies and mares. It's also N2X. There's a pretty heavy morning line favorite, guys, and I'm very curious to see what you guys are going to do. The favorite here is 8-5 with Love, British Bred, Sadler, and Barrios. Let's see what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're all going to pick this horse, right? It's a small field. The horse is 8-5. Blah blah blah. Let's see what we're doing here. No, sir, no, ma'am. Skip is the only one who's going with the favorite. I'm going 1-2-3. Gino's going 4-1, and Skip is going 2-3-4. So in a 6-horse field with one horse that cannot possibly win in the 6, we're all going with 3 different picks. Skip, let's just go with you first. You're going to go with Love. I totally get it. This horse is probably the most logical. She's a 6-year-old mare. What do you like about her, and would you think about singling her in this bet?
Yeah, depending on how I'm going to use or what I'm going to use in the other races, this might have to be a single for me. I know I have one on the back end, but I might need another one because I think the other races are tough, and I think there's some beatable favorites. So I am going to consider singling her. My thought process was this. Sadler he started the meet off slow, 9%, but the horses are running well. He's got 8 seconds and 3/3. Hector Barrios, you got to use everything this guy rides on the grass. He's one of the best grass riders, I think, around, and definitely at Santa Anita. It's dropping down, lowest level yet, coming off a little break. The last 3 races, I know 2 of them were in 23 and 24, but those were key races. Linda's Gift, way back when, that horse was a stakes horse. and won the grade 3 red carpet, as it shows there. Then it comes back January 1st and 24, gets beat by First Time Forever and Mahina. They both came back to win. They gave it a break, comes back October 25, ran a really good race, got beat a nose. Willa T's won a couple since then, I believe. And I just thought this was a perfect spot for this horse. There's no win machines in here. You're seeing 1 for 12, 1 for 14, 1 for 17, 1 for 21, so there's no win machines. But I thought if I got a spread deeper in the other legs of the ticket, that I might have to single With Love, the 2 here.
I totally get it. I'm sure Gino understands it. I don't want to speak for Gino. This is clearly the horse to beat. But you know what, Gino? This is not me getting cheeky or cute, and I'm sure you feel the same way. I just have some bad vibes with this horse. The horse didn't run for, and look, I get it, Skip. The horse is probably going to win by 2 and will probably sound stupid, and that's fine. The horse didn't run for a year and a half. Now the horse is off for another 3 months. I get the for sale sign. She's a 6-year-old Toronis. Right. They've got some other they got other good horses in the barn. What strikes me is this horse is running like low, mid 70s. And if you look at the time form, guys, and I don't know how much of a time form fans you are, but I'm a huge fan of time form. And you look at their speed numbers, the number 2 With Love doesn't exactly tower over. You see like 94, 96, 98, right? And then you look at other ones like the one who I personally like, just ran a 95. The number 3 Securo Flavor is right there, 96, 96. Church Lady, who you like, Gino, has got a back number 90 and could improve here. True Patriots in like the some low 90s. And now the horse is off again. For a few months. I just think the 2 might be vulnerable. And for me, Gino, it's really more of a price situation, because if you can beat With Love in this sequence, it is going to pay 2, 3-fold, 4-fold bigger on the end. So this is the kind of horse that I try to beat. I'm going to do it with the 1. You're going to do it with the number 4, Church Lady, with Kimura and Phil D'Amato.
Yeah, I kind of looked at this race and I played it like a process of elimination. I would like eliminate the horses I don't think I really like or I've seen enough of, right? I kind of started with Lady Lysum. I think in a little bit too tough, just haven't seen enough. True Patriot's been at this level so many times over and over. I was able to eliminate True Patriot. I got the Church Lady, and Church Lady is really lightly raced. This is the softest spot that she's ever been in. You can see With Love in the running lines, and she wasn't that far behind With Love. I think in this smaller field, I could see her just being more forward in this small field. She's not going to have to be so far back and maybe dealing with some traffic in here. She just seems like a horse who hasn't been beaten over and over again like some of these other ones do. And there's a little bit of upside there. So I can absolutely get to her. And then with the inside horses, the 1, you get Exington on the cutback. I think cutting back to a mile is huge for this horse, who had the lead at the mile mark and now gets the cut back to a mile and an 1/8. So I'm going to include him because she is doing something different. There is a reason why I think she can improve off that last effort. With Love is the horse who is getting the drop down to the level. So I'm maybe playing this race 1, 2, 4, kind of looking at those horses as horses who all are like, in this race, I could see a speed horse. I got kind of the new face with the 4. I've got With Love, who's the class. I've kind of got a few different horses and mapping them out in here because I did not love this race and feel like I had a strong enough opinion to single in on anyone here. I like a couple of the other races that we're going to get to better, where I just have a stronger opinion on like a 4-to-1 horse that I feel like, you know what, I can lean on them. So this one, Howard, I'm trying to get out of it. I think with 1, 2, and 4.
Guys, I feel pretty strongly about this race. I'm only using 1 and 2, and that's it. The 1 looks slow by the buyers. I get it. But if, like Gino said, at the mile call, she was winning that race against most of these except for With Love. And the number 6, I don't know what the number 6 was doing in that last race with Exington, but if you watch the replay, Lady Lysum was like asking on the inside. They went fast. That first quarter was fast for the level, was what, 22 and change going a mile and 1/8, guys. If Victor Espinoza rides the horse like he should, which is just sort of let the 6 just run out of there and not press the 1, it sure looks to me like the 1's going to have an easy lead, guys. 1 slow quarter with a bunch of horses that don't like to win, including, to me, the 2 that is a little bit shaky. I might single the 1 and try to get a separator here in my main ticket and then back up with the 2 instead of the other way around, Skip, because that way, if the 1 wins, now I have great value with a bigger ticket. Singling a horse, a lot of people don't single. Now, people can say, Howard, you don't like the 1. That's fine. If people don't like the 1, I get it. But if you're like me, who likes the speed angle here, if the 1 wins at 4-1 as a single, wow, that is a big feather in my pocket. I'm only going 1 and 2, but I'll probably do it on 2 separate tickets, guys, because I don't want to double my ticket with the 2, right? Like if I think the 2 is really the best horse, do I really want to spend, for example, $200 ticket instead of $100 just to add 1 horse
that you don't even like that much? Right.
Well, no, I'm saying to add. Well, yes, correct.
Yeah, a horse that you're like, I don't even know if I love the 2 that much, but kind of got to at you, right? So yeah, I agree with you. It's just a better way to do it. And remember too, as we're talking about these races, like one thing that is nice to do if you're talking about a Gulfstream race. Yeah, they have a 50-cent late pick 5, 50-cent late pick 4, right? Sometimes you have to be able to maybe use a couple of horses in those other wagers where you can afford to. You got to shorten up and take a little bit more of a stand in these wagers where you got the $1 base. Yeah,
absolutely. It's really, I would recommend to everyone you have to go thin in that spot, unless you have really strong opinions in the other races. But I'll tell you what, I thought these other legs are really tough. So it depends on everyone's opinions, guys. But I would go thin in that race for sure, no matter who you guys like at home and ladies that are watching. All right, let's get on to the next race. Leg 3. Leg 3 is Gulfstream race 11. It is the Sweetest Chant.
Can I correct you real quick? It's the Sweetest Chant presented by Daily Racing Form.
Let's get
the title sponsor of this race. I'm going to make sure everyone's getting their sponsor in this week.
Skip, that's the last time I'm on Gino's show. I can tell you. I'm really sorry, my friend. Yes, sponsored by the Daily Racing Form. Woo! All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Let's see. We got 11 horse field, guys. Wow. Sister Troyenne. This is another possible single. We talked about singles, Skip. I don't want to speak for other people, but you could single Sister Troyenne. She's 2-1. Lynch, Mario Gutierrez. Here's our picks. I'm going 6-8-10. Gino's going 10-8-3. And Skip is going 3-8-2. Well, so much for singling Sister Troyenne. None of us have her on top. Gino, let's start with you. Aggressive Lime. I love the name. The horse has not run for a while, coming from some races at Keeneland. This is the fresh face, very interesting horse here. Cox and some guy named Irad.
Yep. And for just for talking purposes, the 11 is not going to run in this race. Is entered. Oh. You would have seen the horse hadn't. I was joking because she didn't have any published works since like December 27th. And I said Southie's trying to one up what he did with White Abario and Skippy Longstocking by winning with the horse who hasn't even have a work in a month in a stakes race here. But no Running Spirit doll here.
Wow.
Let's get to Aggressive Lime, who I think fits this race really well because there are a lot of horses you can make a case for here, a lot of talented fillies, but there aren't very many that have early speed. And I think Aggressive Lime is going to get a great trip from the outside. In fact, if she wants the lead, I think she can get it. If not, I would actually prefer her sitting just off the pace to the outside. And I don't think it will be a wide trip because there's not that much other early speed in here. I think she's going to be able to get over fine. You go through all 3 of her races. Career debut, she wins on the lead at Kentucky Downs, beats a next out winner, good field that day, good effort. Then in her second start, she goes into Jessamine, and she just has a brutal trip. She has a slow start. She does not like it down on the inside. She's trying to get to the outside. She's 3 deep in between horses. Then again, she's kind of bumping around, and she's in the 6-7 path late. It was just a brutal trip. And the horses that we were just looking at there, Imagination Lady comes back to run 4th, a really good 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Top 3 horses from that race all ran in the Breeders' Cup just to show you how good and how strong that field was. Then she comes back, and on November the 19th at Churchill, she wins with almost the exact type of trip I'm hoping for. Like, I won't even be shocked if she's closer than that in here because there's not much speed, but she just sat off nicely. She looked good all the way around. I think she is just naturally one of the quicker in here. And in a race where I respect the heck out of Sister Troyenne, that was my second pick. I had to do top 4 picks for Daily Racing Form. Skip, I had your 3 as my third pick there. I respect them. I may play a ticket or two where I single the 10. This is the type of
Wow.
horse that I like to single in a race just like this, where everyone's going to be spreading out, using a few, or maybe singling the other horse, Sister Troyenne, who's won 4 in a row. I'm going to go to a horse who I think is going to have a possible tactical edge on the group, who I think is really talented and who could get me some separation here. So I really like this filly in this spot.
The other thing I talked about on our show earlier, if you watch, the rails are at 24 feet. They're in the same spot they were today. If people are paying attention, and you need to be a Gulfstream, they're breaking from the far outside rail, and the width of the turf course right now is very wide, is very big because of where they're starting. And the outside horses, Gino, at least my opinion, and Skip, these outside horses have much more advantage when they're breaking from there, as opposed to like when they're breaking very close to the inner rail. So these horses on the outside have no problem like crossing over, and they much less of a chance of being 3-4 wide, Gino. It's a major advantage for these outside posts, in my opinion.
Completely agree to you. It doesn't put the pressure on them. It gives them the time to ease into it. The faster horses will end up getting the lead naturally or getting the trip that they want from the outside. So I completely agree with you. I noticed the same sort of thing. And this is a really fun race to handicap. Like there's some long shots you can make legitimate cases for. I think as we talk ticket structure, you got to kind of pick and choose where you're going to shorten up at some point. And this will probably be one of those races for me. I'll likely always come back and play a smaller ticket against the ticket that I single. And in doing so, I would use the horses who I had, right there on top. I think 2, 3, 8, and 10 were my 4 that were kind of on my radar and how I was going to use them.
Yeah, I know I'm going to spread in this race, for better or for worse. I have to spread here. Speaking of prices, Brat Pack. Skip, were you part of the Brat Pack when you were younger in your neighborhood?
I was part of the Rat Pack, not the Brat Pack.
All right. What do you like about this horse? This Grand Motion guy is pretty good, Skip.
Oh, he's really good and having a great meet. Here's another one. I'm not a big fan of Gun Runner on the grass, but this horse really seems to like it, obviously. A second and a first. This horse, first time out at Laurel Park, I ended up betting it, and it got beat by a horse that went to the lead, Coach Missoula, and just kept going. And they went real slow, 24, 49-4, 114. This horse was making up ground with them at the end and actually galloped out well. I said I put it on my horse to watch list. I had to bet it back, and it ran nicely at Gulfstream Park. It ended up winning by a neck.
Here it is, Skip. It's on the screen right now. Sorry to interrupt you. He's making this 3-wide sweeping move here. Go ahead, the 11.
Right. They went fast early. Then they kind of slowed it down. It had this 3-wide trip. I liked the move that it made, and it kept going. A couple other horses kept coming at it then, the 2 and the 7. But I like the way that this horse finished. I think it's going to improve off this race. And I like that Grand Motion. I mean, I love that he's training it. He's having a great meet. Ruiz is riding most of his horses and riding very well for him. They're winning at 25% for the meet. I just think this horse has some upside. And, on my ticket, I'm probably going to go 4 or 5 deep. But this is a horse that I like the most. I'm going to use, obviously, the 8, Sister Trione. I got to use that one. That horse is doing very, very well. It's won 4 in a row, been very impressive. But I didn't want to single there. I was going to use the 2 surprise inning. Storm's Wake was a maybe for me, and Aggressive Lime for what Gino said. That horse probably should have been in my top 3 before the 2, but I'm going to go 2, 3, 8, and 10 for sure, and I might add the 6. That last work on the 25th, the 6 and the 8 worked together, and it was strange because the 8 looked like it was going to make a move and had a hold of the horse, while they kind of were like asking the 6 was Sister Trione. It was in the inside. They kind of were just shaking the reins a little bit or kind of just asking it a little bit. So they kind of worked head and head, although the 8 got the better, looking part of the drill. But if you watch the 6, he's got a hold. So I just thought this horse was spreadable, and I'm going to do it. I just, if we could beat the 8 here, because when it's all said and done, I think the 8 will probably go off at like 8-5. And this might be a lot of people's single just because of the form and winning 4 in a row and done it, impressively.
Yes, that workout comment, Skip, is why I like the 6 quite a bit here. I think the 6 is actually my price play of the day, Gino, on my spot play and my power pick tip sheet. I don't want to dwell on it because we got 2 other races to cover here, but you're exactly right, Skip. These horses work together. I actually thought Storm's Wake outworked Sister Triana a little bit. I like the fact that they gave this one a rest. And now they put Saez, guys. This is a big jockey switch. I got no problem with Nick Juarez, but he's not Saez. Saez will put this horse more in the game. I love the way this filly finished. She's an Oscar performance. They tend to get a little bit better as they get older. She's working better. It's a wide open field. I could go on and on. This is not a horse that I put my life savings on, but I am definitely using Storm's Wake, just like the way you guys using some other prices in this race. My only concern is there's not enough early speed to set up her closing kick, but I trust Saez. Not only that, guys, to finish my comment on Storm's Wake, this is a mile and 16th, not 1 mile. And there's plenty of room on the turf course to close. So it's a very trip dependent race. If your 10 wins, like you single, that's amazing. Like if anyone could find a real cute opinion in this race other than Sister Troyenne, that is gold in this race. So I thought this race was very, very tough, guys. Let's go on to the next race here. We are the penultimate leg of this coast to coast pick 5. Before we do that, guys, I do want to talk about something else very quickly. We've got some great promos. The coast to coast pick 5 is not the only good bet at San Diego. Let's check out this quick commercial here to talk about some other great bets at the Great Race Place.
Now offered at the Great Race Place. $3 late pick 3 featuring the last 3 races. $5 late double on the last 2 races. Both with a player-friendly 15% takeout. Every race day at Santa Anita Park.
Always got to do that at the end of that commercial. The Frankie, I don't know, whatever he's doing there. All right, the symbol he's giving. All right, guys. Race 5 at Santa Anita is the next one. Another tough turf race. Allowance optional, $20K. They're going 1 mile for Calbreds. Here's the field, guys. The morning line favorite is the number 5, Maya Kama for Mullins and JJ. I thought this was another very difficult race, and a race that personally I think you need to spread. I'd love to hear how you guys feel about ticket construction. I'm going 3, 4, 5, and I don't feel good about it. Gino's going 7, 9, 5, and Skip's going 5, 2, 9. Skip, I'm assuming Maya Kama is going to be the post-time favorite, 5-2. She's got some early speed, but there's other speed in here. And frankly, I'm not sure she's really that much faster than anyone else. She can win. This is just a very tough race for me.
No, me too. And this will be a spread race for me also. I just put her on top. She likes to win, should get a good trip, has tactical speed, could go wire to wire, could sit right off. JJ Hernandez is riding very good out here, Jeff Mullins. But, I am going to be using the 2 on my ticket for sure. You like the 3 and 4. I might have to add those 2 because you like them. And I'm using the 9. I like the breeding on the 9. I was a big fan of the Dam, All-Star Heart. Mm-hmm. And anything with arch in it, I got to use on the grass. I tell you what, it's a tough race. And that's why I'm going to be spreading and singling my horse in the last. I'd love to hear what Gino has to say with this race.
Yeah, don't use the 3 and 4 because I got it, Skip. I got to be honest. It took me 35 minutes to go through this race. I watched a bunch of replays, and then at the end, I was like, I don't have to know what I'm going to do here. And that was after 35 minutes of looking at the damn race. Gino, you're going to go with the 7. Another horse I looked at, Apple Pie for Drysdale and Barrios. I thought, well, I'll let you talk about I'm not going to show the replay. I'll let you talk about the last race. Got up by a neck in the bunch field. This is a big jockey switch from Herrera, who's very capable. And by the way, I thought British Isles, ran well coming from California in the Pegasus, actually, for Herrera. But now gets Barrios.
Another one of these races where I'm trying to use a couple different types of horses. Apple Pie is the lightly raced horse who I think will still be closing, even stretching out from 6 furlongs. I don't think this horse is going to be on the lead or anything. This one was really in some trouble, kind of in between, had to go wide at the top of the lane and got up nicely in a driving finish. 4th place finisher, came out of that race to win a Calbred maiden special weight. Next out, I think just lightly raced with upside in a field where I just don't love anyone. I think she's as intriguing of a lightly raced horse as any. And then from the opposite end of the spectrum, the 9, same sort of thing, a horse who showed speed, right? A lightly raced horse, got on the grass. As Skip was mentioning, the Dam was a 6-time winner, was a grade 2 winner going a mile on the turf. This is exactly what she wanted to do. She got asked for speed. She opened up a length. What I liked is she put away the early speed, and then she had to hold off another big challenge up the rail. So I thought it was a really good effort. It wasn't just like she got an easy lead and went away with it. Like really did have to earn it. 3 winning turf siblings there. And then I'll probably try to use, 3, 5, 7, or 5, 7, 9 in here. And just getting through this leg of the pick 5, Maya Kama is sort of the okay horse. That's the multiple winner that you feel fine about, is going to be involved. I don't necessarily love. So I think Maya Kama was sort of that safe horse that I'm going to use. That's where I throw in the 7 and the 9 as more of the intriguing prices that I like along with Maya Kama. The thing that scared me off a little bit about the 2, Howard, maybe you can pull up some of the recent, just the work pattern. It looked like from November 23rd to December 15th, you see a gap missing for a horse who hasn't raced since August. Yeah. Then you get races you get works December the 15th, December the 22nd. And then there's another gap there from December 22nd to January the 10th. Right. I don't know if that's the biggest deal all the time. Maybe a work or 2 gets missed. But when I have a horse coming back from a long layoff and I want to make sure that they're, 100% or as close to it as possible, I like to see a really steady tab. I don't like to see a couple gaps in the mix.
And there's a gap from October 3rd, November 6th. I mean,
right.
And she was working really fast then. And now her works are incredibly slow. So, well, look, first of all, Skip, tell everyone the name of your dog in the background that popped in.
That was Zenyatta.
It does look like that.
Usually she's up on the bed. She's always in all our. All
right. I got to give Zenyatta some love. All right.
Yeah.
Hope she looks very comfortable. Look, I don't like Just a Kiss at all, guys. And it's funny because we have some great handicappers on this podcast. You've been on with some of them. I have some of my younger guys who would single this horse, and I'm not saying I'm right and they're wrong. That's how polarizing Just a Kiss is. Where's she been? She missed the rest of Del Mar. Then she missed the Del Mar Thanksgiving meet, right? And these works are slow and they're spotty. And I love Ayuso, but man, I have a lot of questions on Just a Kiss. Anyway, I want to push back on 2 things, guys. On these shows, Skip, we call throwing some poo-poo at each other jokingly. Let me throw some poo-poo at your 2 top picks, guys. And please push back. Actually, not the top picks, the 7 and the 9. Push back on Gino on the 7. The horse is already 5, doesn't have the upside you think.
Well, that's actually why I like the fact that this horse is still around and they kept this horse. They must have liked her a little bit, because otherwise you take a while, maybe you go in a softer spot. You're still here in Southern California at Santa Anita with this 5-year-old. So I thought that was actually kind of from the opposite end of the spectrum.
Interesting.
And a lot of the times it comes down to the race in itself, right? I'm not going to go sell people on 5-year-olds with 2 starts all the time. But in a race where I don't love anybody, nobody scares the heck out of us. We're talking about Maya Kama as a favorite, who's fine, who's okay, right? Those are the races where I throw in a 9-year-old veteran who's got some back class on turf form, right? Or you do something a little bit different because you're not necessarily scared of the full competition there.
Fair enough. And Skip, the poo-poo on the 9 I want to throw at you. If this horse was so well meant for turf, why was she 13-1 in her winning start? And is that mainly because of Aguilar, and that's really why?
That's a good question. It could have been with the layoff, coming off that break, going a mile for the first time. It wasn't like, that race was a month out. It was back in October from, January there. So
she didn't show a damn thing in her debut at all, like nothing, right?
Right. And you know what? I didn't bet her in her debut because I was waiting for the grass and to go long. So
Smart. There you go.
we'll see how she does. You know, I just thought Mayakama maybe just wins, right? Maybe it's just the best horse in the race, but I'm going to be using some other ones in here. And I don't feel confident with anybody, but you know, it's 6-1 with the 9. I definitely going to use Just a Kiss. I agree with everything that Gino said. Usually I'm a big workout guy. And when I see gaps in the works, it really scares me off, but I really like the way that she broke her maiden. And that was a key race. So second and third place finishers came back to win again. I did watch the works on XBTV or First Bet Racing. I wasn't real impressed, but Andy Mathis does good off the break. And, you know, not liking anything a whole lot in here. I just thought, you know, at 5-1, I'm probably going to use it. I'm going to spread in this race. I don't love anything.
I hear you. Just so everyone knows at home, not picking on these guys. We like to. It's good for other handicappers to hear the other side of it, right? Because there's reasons why horses are bigger prices or whatever. So I'm not saying I don't like those horses. I'm just saying people would say X, Y, and Z.
That should be a game you play with your friends where you ask them those questions, because you should be able to defend the horses you like with a couple of reasons like that, like in a debate. And Noah is upset he's catching some strays for you there because from you. He said he picked the 3.
Well, look, I'm with Noah. Discipline of him. Squid McDuffie is here. We got a lot of people in the chat, guys. I haven't got to someone lately. That's why I'm putting him on the screen. Because Noah's really smart. We all know that. And he didn't know who I liked. Guys, the 3 is a soft pick. We got to move on here. The 3 is a very soft pick. Here's what I like about Lady Mendelssohn is the horse showed a new dimension last time, which was she was able to, show a lot of early speed, but sustain it and almost won the damn thing. And now gets blinkers off. Maybe they figured something out with this horse. And much different than the 2 guys, the works on Lady Mendelssohn, at least on paper, look very good. Now, I've got to get the DRF workout report, of course, Gino, and find out if those are really good works or not, because time is one thing, the letter grade is another from Mike Welsh and others. But on paper, the workouts look better than they have been. Maybe she's just turning the corner. It is a very soft pick. And then the 4 guys is just the fastest on paper. I mean, she can't win. She doesn't win rate. I don't mean she can't win. She doesn't win usually. She's only 4 for 25, but geez, guys, I mean, if you look at time form and other things, she's run the fastest figs like consistently. So I don't know. If someone said hit the all button, I wouldn't even blame them. Like, this race is impossible to me. So that's how I feel.
Right.
All right, guys, let's get to the last race. We really appreciate everyone listening and watching. We're going a little bit longer than we normally do, but hey, Gino and Skip and I were having a lot of fun. It's the first time the 3 of us have been together on the HHH Racing podcast, so why not? Let's get to the last race, guys. Race 7 in California. It's the last leg, and it's the megahertz. And Skip, I had to look up some things because I love the horse megahertz. It's when I just started really getting to horse racing, like 03, 04, 05, when I was really deep diving. And the great thing, and Gino, you're just old enough to understand this because we're old curmudgeons, Skip and I. The turf course at Santa Anita used to be like a putting green. It used to be like really thin. And for guys like me from the Midwest, watching them run, Skip, over that turf course in the winter, it was like, it was like, oh, it looks so beautiful with the San Gabriels and the very thin grass, like the putting green grass. And megahertz specifically, for people that don't know, was a very talented, like, miler filly and mare, a filly on the turf. And she had a turn of foot that was absolutely mind-boggling. And she was a small little thing, Skip. I loved watching megahertz run.
Yeah, no, she was one of my favorites. Bobby Frankel trained her. Michael Bello owned her. And I tell you what, she had that style where she would go back to last, and she was just a little chestnut, filly, but she had this big turn of foot, and she wouldn't switch leads a lot of the time. She would always be on her left lead, and she just would mow them all down. She was great. And listen, I love betting any winner, whether they're wire to wire or coming from behind. But when you bet a horse that's a closer like Zenyatta or Megahertz or whatever, coming from behind, there's nothing better than that. Just getting that whipped out and start,
And something about that turf course made the closers look even faster. Like their turn of foot was even quicker. I don't know what it was, but anyway,
Right.
Megahertz guys was 14 for 34, won 2.26 million. The great Alex Solis was the regular rider for Megahertz. Our picks are on the bottom of the screen for the very last race we're talking about here, guys. I'm going 7-2-3. Gino's going 3-1-7, and Skip is going 4-2-7 in the grade 3 megahertz. It's a mile on turf for the older fillies and mares. Another difficult race. Moreline favorite is Public Assembly. Gino, let's talk about your top choice, Princessa. I think it's Moche. I don't want to pronounce it correctly. I think that's how Frank Miramati pronounced it. Moche ran a bang-up race last time against a complete monster, of course. She's 5-1 morning line for Doug O'Neill, who once again is having a solid meet.
Yeah, she lost to Queen Maxima last time out, who is the best horse down the hill right now and one of the better turf sprinters in the country. And Princessa Moche showed us 2 starts back. She has no problem getting the mile distance. She has that type of speed here where I think she's just going to run them off their feet early and try to separate from this field. We saw a horse like Going Lucky, fine, sitting off the pace a little bit. I think she's faster than the 6, Violetta M. And honestly, for like a graded stakes race here, this isn't the strongest race in the world. There aren't a bunch of horses that are legitimate graded stakes horses in good form and in like that have been facing great company. That's why a horse like Public Assembly is the favorite, who's just okay, like been okay at these races at this level. I want a horse like this who's on the upswing, who has speed, who can steal it on the front end. And I'm looking at another horse with upside too, Howard, the one, My Perfect Wave, right to the inside, who is lightly raced, who has the opportunity to continue to jump up, has never really run a bad race, and I think maybe a little bit better overall than the speed figures might suggest. I would just prefer horses like that, who I think are moving in the right direction, who are trending positive, versus Public Assembly, who has just been running at the graded stakes level, okay efforts, nothing.
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine. She's good.
Nothing to write home about, you know, and she's going to be 5-2, 3-1, short pricing here because people know her and they're familiar with her name at this level. I liked her a lot, like when she stepped up at this level, but she hasn't progressed. Unfortunately, she's just been kind of running the same sort of races in here. She didn't have really any excuses last time out. She just got going too late. And the other favorite that I'm a little cold on too, Howard, is the 4 Will Then, who I liked a lot all last year. I played this horse repeatedly over and over and over again when she was facing 3-year-olds. But just to give you an example, that American Oaks that she just ran in, she finished 3rd in that race. The 4th place finisher, Take a Breath, just came back last weekend at Santa Anita and was well beat, or was a disappointing favorite in a lower level race. So I just don't, and I don't know how strong that American Oaks was. Now she's going to be stepping up and facing older. I don't even think it was a strong race against 3-year-olds, and now she's going to face older, and I think she's going to be a pretty short price. So I'm not really in love with either the 2 or the 4, who I think will be 2 of the shorter prices in here. I'm just looking elsewhere.
I totally agree. And Jonathan Thomas has been really good out there. He's 27%, for God's sakes, with a limited sample. But I agree with everything you said. I actually bet the horse you just mentioned last weekend. Was the
I did too. I thought that was a standout.
Take horse. A breath, and she just couldn't get there, and it was just I don't know. I've had enough of Will Then. I agree. I don't even have her in the mix. But now we're ripping on Skip. Sorry, Skip. We don't mean to do that. Watch this horse run off the screen now. You know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
Skip. Sure. We're unintentionally throwing the poo-poo at you as we have almost 400 people, guys, watching live throughout the country right now. Skip, tell us why Will Then will win on Saturday.
Howard, you've thrown the poo-poo at me twice now.
I know it's
only once, but
2 is a good number to use when we're throwing poo-poo. But anyway, go ahead.
Listen, I love Will Then in this spot, and
okay,
I'm going to tell you why. Boy, back in 24, she was really, really good, and I thought she was going to be like a Breeders' Cup type filly. Then she had a little trouble. Something went amiss. They brought her back and ran a couple times, and they gave her a little break again. She ran good races. I think she's rounding back into form. Okay. I liked her race in the red carpet. That was against Miss Astor, who came back and won again. Yeah. I liked her great race in the grade 1 American Oaks. I don't think she wants to go that far. I know she can, but
Yeah.
I think her favorite distance is a mile. All 3 of her wins have been at a mile. She gets it today. She gets Money Mike Smith aboard. Jonathan Thomas wins every turf race out here, it seems like. Big race anyways. And the thing that topped it off for me, I think she's rounding back in the form. That January 24th work, if you watch it, she worked with Going Lucky, and she worked. I put really good work. I mean, it was like a great work to me. Okay. I love the work. I know it was on the dirt. I love her in this spot. I think she's going to get a great trip, and I think she's going to win, and she's going to be my single. I love her tomorrow.
Wow. Good luck, Skip. I'm debating whether to use her at all. And I certainly respect your opinion, Skip. And I think the distance question is fair, Gino. I think she is probably better.
She could have more punch cutting back. Yeah.
And like you said, there are no superstars in this race, and you're getting a little bit of a price. So, like, why not? I totally get it, Gino. I'll just end our conversation, or sorry, Skip. Guys, I've got good vibes about this race, and it's the number 7. This horse is just so damn honest. All she does is run. Like, she could close, she can be close to the lead. JJ knows her well. I like the fact she's got a little bit of break, not a long break, but a little bit 2-month break to get ready here. She's no monster, guys. She's like Public Assembly, but I think she's got a quicker turn of foot, Gino, and she's a little more tactical. And she just always runs big and never seems to get the respect she deserves, guys. So I'm not singling her. I'm probably just going to use like the 3 and the 7 and just pray. But I think Vibes is I don't know about likely, but is a very likable horse in this spot.
The first time I handicapped the race, I wasn't quite as into her. And then the more I looked at this race, I completely warmed up to having to use her in the exotics, and she had to be my 3rd horse on tickets because of what you pointed out. She's just really honest. She's really solid. That Matriarch race last time out was so much tougher than this race that she's in. Breathaway and Heredia, who were 4th and 5th, they both just ran in the Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mirror Turf. Heredia was only beat like 2 lengths in that race, ran an 89 Beyer speed figure. She'd be a major player in a spot like this.
I mean, she doesn't have the kind of stakes company lines that others do, but again, according to time form, not only is she just as fast, she's actually faster, guys, than many of the horses in this field. So if you believe in time form, and I looked it up, I mean, she's running 110, 111, 112. A lot of these others are running like 106, 107, 108. And I'll just close our conversation with this. I got a great sheet of paper from Craig Malkowski that I'm holding up that basically says how many, based on the distance, how many points a time form number is worth. And Vibes is like 3 to 4 points better than most of these in this field, which makes her a length or 2 better at this distance. So I got to believe in what I believe in, but it is a wide open race, guys. This is just one hell of a sequence. I'll just finish off our show with this. And we really appreciate you guys being on. I'm sorry I kept you on for so long, but our viewership is absolutely outstanding tonight. We know why, because we got Gino and Skip on. If you had to single, or you had to go really thin in a particular race, which race or which horse would it be? Gino, I'll go first. Either a single that you would recommend for everyone, or at least one race where you'd say you cannot go more than 2 deep in this leg.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like doing this. I actually wouldn't even have a problem starting with Mary's Lad as a single. A lot of people hate starting off with a single, so you get contrarian when you do that because a lot of other people aren't going to do that way. And then the other one that I mentioned, Aggressive Lime. Those would be the 2 tickets, the way I probably structure my tickets, with a single to start, which would be nice. You know where you are right off the bat. And then another one in a race that's wide open. A lot of people might lean on Sister Troyenne. I'll single there, and then I can play a couple different tickets where I don't single in the other race. I use a few to cover myself, but I always like singling a horse that might be in the 3 to 4-ish to 1 range that I like, that isn't going to be an overwhelming favorite. So that definitely is Aggressive Lime for me, the 10 horse I like most in the sequence.
Skip, I think you sort of gave it away there at the end. It sounds like you're going to just go for it at the last race with Will Venn, which would be a gutsy and a horse that absolutely can win that race.
Yeah, you guys are scaring me a little bit because.
Well, I don't dislike her. I don't dislike her. I just like others. For me,
I got you. I hope that I'm right, and I hope that you're wrong. I hope you're right in other races, but I really think, like I said, the cut back in distance, the rounding back in the form. I just think she's going to run a bang up race, cutting back to a mile. I would also go late in the third race at Santa Anita. You know, the 2, I think, is a horse to beat with the class drop. The 1's the speed. So maybe a couple deep in there. But my day is all about Will Then on Saturday.
I love it. I love it. I hope you're alive to it, Skip. I hope we're all alive to it. Look, you just gave away my pick. I know it's only a 6-horse field. I think Exington in race 3 at Santa Anita, if she gets 1 slow quarter, these are just not trustable horses, including with Love. I might just go for it and have some balls and just single Exington on my big ticket and back up with Love on the small ticket. That's my thought, like in general. And there's some other races you just got to spread. I mean, I can't. You know, you have to spread there, guys. There's a lot of morning line favorites that a very good chance of losing. I think we could see another carryover, Gino. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, remember they don't pay to 4 out of 5. They carry over every day to the next wager. And if you're someone who's looking already at a lot of these races, like at Gulfstream, for example, the Sunset 6 on Saturday includes the Forward Gal and the Holy Bull. So there's 2 graded stakes races in those last 3, along with a couple of the one of the races that we just looked at here at Santa Anita, race number 7. So awesome opportunities all over the place with those great wagers at First Racing. And anytime you want to talk coast to coast pick 5, count me in.
Thanks. We'll get you guys on again. Really appreciate it. Gino Piccola and Skip Pairing and everyone who's watching. If you're new to the show, because I saw a lot of new people in the chat, hit that subscribe button at the bottom right hand side of the screen, notification bell on the top right, and smash that like button below the video player. For Gino and Skip, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 5 of Wire to Wire, covering the coast to coast pick 5 at Gulfstream and Santa Anita. Crush your bets this Saturday and stay warm, everyone. Take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Good luck.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.